Now, if you have a large tree that fell down, such as this actually isn't a tree, it's a large branch that fell off an oak tree. And I'm going to be processing this because this is several large branches. There's a lot of forks and stuff like that. So I basically want to utilize as much wood as possible from this for firewood. So my technique is going to be to take all the limbs off first and then basically break it down to smaller, more processable pieces. So here I have a fork, and in all honesty, this isn't a very safe fork to chop with an axe. So I'm going to be hitting it further up. Now, as I discussed earlier in the video, it's basically the same process. So I'm going to be starting and marking here and here, here and here, here and there. So now I have 3 sections. And I'm going to want this one to chop out very well. That's about the width of the branch, if not a little bit wider. And I'm going to be working my way through the different pieces to chop this apart. The only thing when a branch is elevated like this is probably about 12 to 18 inches off the ground, as there's a lot of flexion with it. So when I was talking about earlier in the video, the efficiency of your swinging is going to become very important here, because you're losing about half the power by the log moving itself. So really focus on the speed of the axe blade and not so much the power. So I'm flicking my wrists as I bring it through, making sure I add a little bit extra speed going through, because this is a lighter axe, so speed is really the only asset this has. It doesn't really have a ton of weight to it to drive it through some of that wood, so I have to rely on the sharpness of the blade and the speed. Also, one thing I learned by watching, there's a Scandinavian guy. He used an axe, maybe the blade was about the same, but it was probably about half the weight of this, and he chopped a tree that was probably 3 feet thick, and he just did it slowly, but he focused on his cuts. He was very methodical with the placement of his cuts and made sure each cut was exactly where he wanted it. He was taking out large chunks of wood. And what you could do is cut, and if your axe gets stuck, lever it out. I don't like doing that because I think it loosens up the head, so I just stick with fast, light cuts that are accurate. Now, as this gets pretty low, I just want to be real cautious with my cuts. So these I'm going to slow the speed down a little bit. 1, because there's a lot of pressure here. And 2, if I swing it too hard and I come through, I might lose control. So I just want to be focusing on the accuracy, go a little bit slower with these. And since this is elevated also, this is a case where my legs can be more prone to getting hit. Now, I think this is the last hit, maybe second to last. There we go, and now it's apart. Now I just wanted to make sure I was up and out of the way so that when that broke free, I wasn't swinging full power and the glance of hitting the wood could have sent it into one of my legs. So that is a type of bucking which is called limbing, and that is when you get big old branches like these that break off into several different pieces. Now, for something as simple as this piece over here, as you can tell, this goes upwards. Really, the technique is quite simple. So I'm going to want to hit downwards. I'm going to want to hit cross, going upwards. And basically cut like several 90-degree angles, chipping away at the support structure of this limb. And then eventually it'll just lever itself off. Come on, 2 more hits. There we go. That's it. That's all it took. But it's all about the placement of your cuts. Now, there's this piece right here. Sorry for all the camera movement. There's this piece right here. Now, the last place I would want to be is swinging an axe and having it go this way, because it can glance off and come and hit me. However, it would be pretty hard to cut it from here. I can cut down and I can cut across, but getting the back side and the far side of this would be a little harder, especially if this was a little bit bigger. So it's the same thing. I just want to cut from underwards and use basically the glancing of, if I hit off this, then that's going to protect my body. But basically chip away at the bottom of it. There we go. That's all it took. And that piece is done. I hope these tips were helpful for cutting large branches down in your yard or getting wood for a campfire. I'll see you guys next time.